Yeah, hi guys. Um, I just want to do a quick video today about property, real estate, and property and stuff. More specifically, how does the Thai real estate market work? The big picture thing of how it all works, because it is a whole lot different to the West, right? Um, yeah, title of the video probably should be "We're not in Kansas anymore." Yeah. Um, and doing this because like, as I mentioned before, any video we seem to do about property or anything gets a fantastic response. Huge amount of people watch them, view them, etc. So I take that as there is a lot of people interested in Thai real estate market, how it works, moving here, renting here, buying here. Um, yeah, so as I just said, it's not like the West, okay? It's a whole different ball game to a certain extent, right? The first big difference is real estate agents don't exist here, right? There are people who call themselves agents, and there are shops that look like real estate agents, etc. But they're no more real estate agents than I am, right? I can set up a shop tomorrow, put pictures in the window, open a website, say, Pete's Friendly Real Estate Agent, yeah? So there's no real estate licensing, there's no qualification to be a real estate, there's no... Real estates don't exist in that respect, yeah? Which I think is great, because I detest real estate agents, right? To me, they just, I don't know, they do a 6-week night course and get 2% of your major asset. It's like, yeah, to me, they're parasites, right? They don't spend any money, they don't buy any money, they don't make the investment, they don't take the risk, they don't do anything. But they get this huge chunk of your major asset or major money you've made, etc., right? So, yeah, so without saying much more, I don't like real estate, right? So you get to Thailand, and the whole system works without agents to a certain extent, right? Real estate's just another commodity, the same as a box of bananas or a car or a pair of shoes. It's just a commodity that anyone can buy and sell, anyone can broker a deal, um, anyone can be part of that transaction, right? So, um, and what's happened in Thailand is there's always these Westerners come and try and open a Western real estate model, right? Where you are dependent on a real estate agent. You can't do any sort of real estate transaction without an agent. They're sitting in the middle of any real estate transaction, and you have to use them. So, yeah, here, once you get your head around that they don't exist in that way here, um, yeah, you can wander up the street and go to find a shop front. It looks like a real estate agent. They've got photos in the window. You walk inside, the guy's in a suit and tie and he's driving a BMW, and in all those respects, he's an agent, right? You want 3%, 3% to sell the property, 2 or 3%, all that. But if you realise what they're doing is just making Western people feel comfortable in the transaction now. So, just step back and show you how the Thai system works, right? Yeah, there's a few websites and things you can go where people list property. 99% of it nowadays is on Facebook, yeah? You can, everywhere in Thailand, if you're in Pattaya, there's Pattaya real estate, Pattaya condos for sale, Pattaya property sales, all these Facebook groups you can join, right? There'll be one in Phuket, one in Chiang Mai, 20 of them in Bangkok or whatever, right? I'll put one up on the screen here. So here's one of the groups I was talking about. Just excuse the sound, it's a microphone in the laptop. But here's one of the groups I was talking about, Pattaya condos for sale or rent. It's one of half a dozen groups here in Pattaya. 31,000 members in this one. So you can scroll down. There's a listing by this person, came on 24 minutes ago. All the details.
They'll put photos, everything you want. You can message them. Uh, yeah. There's another one. There's a house. Came on 27 minutes ago. You can message that person, look at the photos, all of these sort of details. It's like 2.4 million. Guy's dreaming. But yeah, that's sort of the way it works. And there's millions and millions and millions of people do it this way, and millions of people buy this way. So yeah, and developers pop up in here. People who call themselves agents pop up in here. Straight up individuals pop up in here. They're kind of for sale. They've made a point own a post. Yeah, um, post in Thai, but usually Facebook will translate that for you. Yeah, it says 1,000,000 baht straight from the owner. 700 metres from the beach, Laguna Beach Resort. Um, yeah, big swimming pool, the whole bit. There's all the photos. Actually, 1,000,000 baht. So that's not a bad price. That's pretty cheap. $50,000 Australian. Yeah, so you get the idea.
Okay, so as you can see, that's what they look like, right? Um, Massive chunks of the real estate market is done in that informal way. Um, there's a whole big informal aspect, just word of mouth, people in condominium blocks. The maid in a condominium block, she knows that condo on the third floor's for sale. If she gets wind of someone who wants to buy a condo in that block, she'll broker the deal, right? And she'll get a bit of commission off the person. Or so on the topic of commission, okay, and this will freak a lot of people out how this can work in Thailand, right? Um, Say I put my condo on the market for a million baht next week, $40,000 Australian, 1,000,000 baht, and I let all my friends know, and the guy in the front gate, and the maid, and the office down here, and a couple of people I know, and all that. I want a 1,000,000 baht for my condo, right? It's completely acceptable in Thailand for somebody knows I want a 1,000,000 baht. They'll put an ad up on Facebook for 1.1 million for that condominium, okay? For this condominium. Completely acceptable. They don't think anything of doing that. So, I may not be paying this person commission. They just grab what I want for the condo and then they put money on top, right? So they'll find a buyer. Let's say I do that and a friend of Anne's gets wind, we want to sell our condo, we want 1,000,000 baht, okay? She'll go, I reckon I can sell that for 1.2. So she'll go on to a couple of buy and sell sites, a Facebook group, advertise just amongst her family and friends on Facebook, online, on WhatsApp, whatever. Condo for sale in Jontium, 1.2 million baht, okay? People then, okay, they want to see it, they contact her, she brings them round, they have a look through, everything. The sale goes through, that person pays 1.2 million baht, that girl, friend or whoever it is, hands over to us 1 million, because that's what we want, and she'll keep, 10,000, 20,000 baht ends up to be hers. Yeah. So if you come from the West and you hear a transaction like that, you think, that can't be right. That's terrible. They're putting money on top of this, how much this person wants. But that is a completely standard, acceptable transaction in Thailand. It's nothing. Yeah, if you know someone wants $1 for something and you can sell it to someone else for $1.20, go ahead. The person selling it for the dollar, they don't care. They get their dollar. You get 20 cents in the transaction. That person was happy paying $1.20. Yeah, And you need to understand that that transaction in Thailand is nothing out of the ordinary. I don't know. The whole thing works in a slightly different way. And what prompted me to make this video, right, is there's a group on Facebook the other day I was watching, on YouTube, sorry. I was watching a YouTube video the other day of these guys, and they're going to take over the world. They're going to reform the Thai real estate market, you know, i.e. they want to drop a Western model on top of the whole Thai real estate market, right? So they can be agents and they can get commission and you have to use them and the whole thing, yeah. And it was just quite funny. These guys are like telling you their plans, how they're going to take over the whole, reform the whole real estate market. And all right, with that in mind, I suppose if you hop off the plane, I want to buy a place and start looking around, right? Yeah, it is a bit more difficult than home. You can't find these realestate.com, you know, that every agent in the country lists on that site. That's the place you go to find real estate. You can do comparison shopping. You can do all whatever, yeah. So there isn't much in that respect. There's a couple of DD property, hit flat, a few like that where you can buy and sell. But then you're just as likely to find property for sale in like Thai Facebook Marketplace, Thai Facebook groups, things like just general buy and sell sites, you know, Bart Sold or Kai D, there's another one. And they just trade, you know, like Trading Post or Gumtree or something back in Australia. Yeah, you find property listed on there. Just the owner's listing, and you're the buyer, and you ring up the owner and you say how much, and you go for have a look, and yeah. So hopefully that explains the difference a little bit. Yeah. So how the whole transaction takes place too is a whole lot different. Yeah. In Australia, you more or less locked into using a real estate to buy or to sell. Then you're locked into using a solicitor, a lawyer for the whole conveyancing, that aspect of it, yeah. It ends up being a exercise you don't have much say in, and you've got to sit back and it takes a month and all this sort of thing. In Thailand, right, if you come and knock on my door tomorrow morning and want to buy this condo off me, we can go up the next day and go to the land office and you can buy this condo, yeah? Everything's done at the government land office, yeah? So seller, buyer, go to the land office together. They both sit at the desk with the lady at the land office. The sale won't take place if there's a mortgage on the property, if there's a lien on the property, if there's something not right about the property. They won't transfer the sale, right? So there's no legal ramifications to getting ripped off or it's going to go wrong or something, right? If you don't have the money to buy it and they're not legally allowed to sell it, the transaction won't take place, right? So to me, it's a great system. It's just the government body does what they're supposed to do, and they do it on the spot. You can just walk up. There's checks and balances. You know, they obviously check there's no mortgage on that property. That person is the legal owner. You know, the payment between the buyer and seller, in a way, has nothing to do with the land office, right? The seller will say, yeah, he's paying me some money. The buyer says, yeah, I'm going to pay him some money. They'll often, that takes place in the form of a bank check, cashier's check. The land office may take a copy of it, just for the records and if there's any dispute later on, that sort of thing. But the money that changes hands and how much changes hands often doesn't have much to do with the land office, right? They appraise what the property's worth. They'll say that property's worth 1 million baht and you pay taxes and transfer and stamp duty on that value, right? They say that property's worth 10 million baht, you pay taxes on 10 million baht, right? You might pay 20 million for that property, or you might pay 1 million for that property, right? That's irrelevant. The The land office just works on what they say it's worth. Okay, so in respect, they don't give a shit how much money you're passing back between each other, how and when you transfer the funds, etc. Yeah, they're just transferring one person's name ownership, another person's name ownership. Yeah. So, in that respect, right, it's great. Once you realise this how the system works and you get your head around it, you know, nothing to do with real estate agents, nothing to do with lawyers. It can be quite refreshing, yeah. Your transaction is between you and the seller or the buyer, you know. And then, but like I said previously, yeah, if you're used to that in the West, right, you can go shopping on the internet and everything's there. All the information's there. You can track down every property for sale. That aspect of it is probably a little bit harder, yeah. There isn't a go-to website where everything's listed. You really have to shop around in different avenues, yeah. A lot of the time you might just be visiting a friend at a block and say, yeah, okay, I like this block. I want to buy a block in this block, yeah. And then the friend would put you in touch with the maid who would put you in touch with somebody who's got one for sale, and that it's an indirect type of thing. So that can be harder, yeah, obviously, yeah. You hang around the block, get to know the block. Look, there's notice board in the block to find properties for sale, or you may just start looking in Facebook groups and things and say you're looking for that particular property. Yeah, and the other side of the coin is the data, right? In Australia, or, you know, I presume UK, US, EU is all the same, there's tons and tons and tons of property data. You can find out the last 10 sales for that property. You can look up, even without paying any money, you can find out the last 10 sales in the street, the average price for that area. You can find out the sales history of the property you're thinking of buying. When was the last time it sold? How much it sold for? All of that data is completely accessible in Australia. And if you pay money and sign up to like a service that provides that, you can get even more data. You know, you can find out the guy who bought the houses, what else he owns, or so whatever. You know, you can find out all this other data. So that's a huge factor in the Thai real estate market, right? There is no data. There is no sales data, right? Nobody has a clue, right, about if my next door neighbour sells his house tomorrow, or let me put that another way. If I sell my house tomorrow, there's only 2 people in the known universe that know the sales price. Me, the seller, and the buyer. Nobody else has a clue what we agreed on and what this property changed hands for. Okay, so the value of a property in a condo block is largely unknown, right? And largely just up to market forces, market fluctuations. To a certain extent, right? Yeah, you can keep an eye on things and sell. They had it on the market for this, and that, oh, now it's sold. They must have got that. You know, you can be somewhat aware of what prices are, but there's no way you can go and say, oh yeah, Smith Street, yeah, house in there would probably run about X, you know, or this amount of money, or in that suburb, or in that area, or in that condo block. So yeah, the market is it's a free market, yeah. Somebody's desperate to sell and somebody's in the right place at the right time, they can get something for half the price. If somebody's stupid enough to pay some ridiculous asking price, the seller can get double the price. Yeah, so I suppose buyer beware in that regard. So yeah, even in my block here, these little cookie cutter condos, they're all the same. I know of one going for as low as $1 million baht, and I know for the same condo going for as high as 2 million baht. Most of the time, somewhere in the middle, 1.5 million baht, yeah. So, yeah, the $1 million baht, we sort of found out friend of a friend who knew someone who was selling one and really needed to sell it in a hurry, and it ended up going for 1 million baht. And the 2 million baht, you know, someone just stuck a stupid price on it. Someone hopped off the plane and was stupid enough to pay it. So, anyway, I think it's what you might call just free market, yeah? There is no, that not having access to the data can be a bit to your own detriment, yeah? You can pretty much, as I said, in Australia or somewhere, yeah, you can find out the last 5 sales in the street, the last 5 sales in everything, yeah? You can have a real idea of what that property's worth. So, I don't know. But then, in Australia, prices are dictated by real estate agents to a certain extent, yeah? A real estate won't let a property go for half price. You know what I mean? The fundamental way a real estate makes money, i.e. commission, they have no vested interest in dropping the price, negotiating a deal, dumping something on the market just to liquidate it. They don't really have an interest in that, because if they halve the price, they halve their commission. Okay? So they will always prop real estate up. Yeah. Here, there's nobody propping up the market. What someone's willing to sell for and what someone's willing to buy for is the price point at which something will sell. You know, nobody's artificially propping that up. And see, with all real estates here, they are essentially artificially propping it up. Because as I said, right, there's no sales data. So if you look in the, if you go to a real estate agent and say, I want to sell my condo, right? They jump on the internet and they see what else is somebody asking, not selling. What are the other people asking for a similar property? And they'll find 10 properties similar to yours and people want 10 million baht, okay? So they'll put your property on for 10 million baht because everyone else is asking 10 million, right? And if you look into it, that property and similar properties have never sold for 10 million baht, right? Never, ever. The highest price ever has been 5 million baht, but because everybody's asking 10 million, the real estate, that's the only data they have available, is what other people are asking. That's the data. So the data is completely false. So with that in regard, right, whatever you see something in the market in Thailand, right, take that with a grain of salt. The price means absolutely nothing, right? This condominium is for sale for 10 million because this guy saw that his neighbour's trying to get 10 million. And this guy's got 10 million on his condo because his neighbour's got put 10 million on his condo, yeah? If you happen to be able to know someone in the block who's bought a condo, they probably paid 5 million for it. So, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully this gives you a bit of a broad perspective of how the market works. And so if you hop off the plane, you're not operating in that standard Western market with real estates and things. Whole different ball game, yeah? But it doesn't stop Westerners trying to come here and, as I said, open that Western real estate model. They're very much, you know, they sort of can't stand that someone else is getting this money when they should be getting it, you know. It should be, I'm a real estate agent, I want to funnel everything through me and I want all the commission, I want to control the market, you know. And so I think a lot of actual real estate agents find that incredibly frustrating, yeah. The fact that, and we've bought and sold 2 or 3 properties here, right? We've never used an agent in our life. We've never had a need to. I suppose they look like an agent, I suppose. They're on Facebook and they've got 2 or 3 properties for sale. But other than that, they're really just a private individual who's dabbling in a bit of brokering some deals on some property, yeah? Next week they might be brokering a deal on some they might be buying something in bulk from somewhere and selling it off to someone at the markets, or they're brokering a deal in underwear or something. Who knows? It's Thai people are quite good at that sort of business side of things. Sometimes they'll go and buy from the farm and sell to the market. They'll buy wholesale, sell retail. They're the middleman in the brokering a deal. They'll go to Cambodia and buy shoes, come back and sell them in bulk to people who have market stalls. So they're the middleman, they're the wholesaler. Real estate, to a certain extent, is just another commodity like that. The person in the middle is the wholesaler. They're finding that property's for sale for $1 million. I'll keep that in the back of my mind, yeah. Or they go and stick an ad up in one of these Facebook groups. Here's a condo, contact me for details, Again, it's just brokering a deal. It's not it's no different to selling a box of bananas. Yeah. All right. I'm not sure there's much else to carry on about. That was on my mind and I just wanted to clear it up. And hopefully gives people a bit of an idea of when they hop off the plane and they're going looking for a property. It doesn't work the same as the West. And I think it's a good thing because I hate real estate agents. But anyway, we'll leave it there and I'll see you next video. Cheers, guys.